The Roman Empire, 27 BCE, 476 CE. The Roman Empire was one of the most powerful civilizations in history, shaping law, warfare, architecture, and culture for centuries. It began as a republic, but transformed into an empire in 27 BCE, when Augustus Caesar declared himself the first emperor. Rome's military strength, engineering marvels, and efficient administration allowed it to dominate much of Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. At its peak, the empire was a symbol of strength and civilization, boasting grand cities, roads, aqueducts, and a legal system that still influences modern governance. The famous Pax Romana Roman peace ensured stability and prosperity for nearly 2 centuries. However, Rome's downfall was a slow and complex process. Corruption, economic instability, and overexpansion stretched its resources thin. The empire struggled to defend its vast borders against invading barbarian tribes, like the Visigoths, who sacked Rome in 410 CE. In 476 CE, the last Roman emperor, Romulus Augustulus, was deposed, marking the official fall of the Western Roman Empire. Though the Eastern Roman Empire, Byzantine Empire, survived for another 1,000 years, Rome's legacy as an empire came to an end. The British Empire, 1583 to 1997. At its height, the British Empire was the largest empire in history, controlling nearly a quarter of the world's land and population. Its rise began in the late 16th century, fueled by maritime exploration, colonization, and economic ambition. The establishment of overseas territories in North America, the Caribbean, and India marked the early foundations of British global dominance. The empire expanded rapidly in the 18th and 19th centuries, driven by the Industrial Revolution, which gave Britain a technological and economic edge. The British Navy ensured control over vital trade routes, while colonies provided resources, labor, and markets. The empire's influence stretched from Canada to Australia, from India to Africa, with the phrase, "the sun never sets on the British Empire," symbolizing its vast reach. However, the empire's decline began in the 20th century. World War I and World War II drained Britain's economy and weakened its global standing. Nationalist movements in India, Africa, and the Middle East gained momentum, demanding independence. India, the crown jewel of the empire, gained independence in 1947, setting off a wave of decolonization. Over the next decades, territories either gained independence or transitioned into the Commonwealth. By 1997, when Hong Kong was handed back to China, the British Empire had effectively come to an end, leaving behind a legacy of both progress and controversy. The Mongol Empire, 1206 to 1368. The Mongol Empire was the largest contiguous land empire in history, forged through the ruthless conquests of Genghis Khan. In the early 13th century, the Mongols, nomadic tribes from the steppes of Central Asia, were united under Genghis Khan, whose leadership transformed them into an unstoppable war machine. Through superior military tactics, discipline, and psychological warfare, the Mongols conquered vast territories, including China, Persia, the Middle East, and Eastern Europe. Their empire stretched from the Pacific Ocean to the heart of Europe, controlling the Silk Road and facilitating unprecedented cultural and economic exchanges between East and West. Despite their reputation for brutality, the Mongols also established one of the most effective administrative systems in history. They promoted religious tolerance, improved trade, and created a postal network known as the Yam. Under Kublai Khan, Genghis Khan's grandson, the Mongols founded the Yuan dynasty in China, further solidifying their rule. However, the Mongol Empire's downfall was inevitable. Its vast size made governance difficult, and internal power struggles weakened unity. Local uprisings, such as the Red Turban Rebellion in China, challenged Mongol authority. By 1368, the Yuan dynasty fell to the Ming dynasty, marking the end of Mongol rule in China. Elsewhere, Mongol territories fragmented into smaller khanates, each succumbing to regional powers. The empire that once seemed unstoppable ultimately collapsed under the weight of its own vastness. The Ottoman Empire, 1299 to 1922. The Ottoman Empire was one of history's longest-lasting and most influential empires, spanning over 6 centuries. Founded by Osman I in 1299, the Ottomans started as a small Anatolian principality, but rapidly expanded into the Balkans, the Middle East, and North Africa. Their greatest triumph came in 1453 when Sultan Mehmed II conquered Constantinople, ending the Byzantine Empire and transforming the city into Istanbul, the heart of Ottoman power. At its peak in the 16th and 17th centuries, under leaders like Suleiman the Magnificent, the empire controlled vast territories, including modern-day Turkey, Greece, Egypt, and parts of Eastern Europe. The Ottomans were known for their military strength, administrative efficiency, and religious tolerance, ruling a diverse population through a sophisticated system of governance. Their control over trade routes between Europe and Asia made them a dominant economic force. However, the empire began to decline in the 18th century. Military defeats, economic stagnation, and internal corruption weakened Ottoman rule. The rise of European powers and nationalist movements in the Balkans led to the loss of territories. By the 19th century, the empire was labeled the sick man of Europe. World War I dealt the final blow. Siding with the Central Powers, the Ottomans suffered a decisive defeat. In 1922, the last Sultan, Mehmed VI, was deposed, and the following year, Mustafa Kemal Ataturk officially abolished the Ottoman Empire, founding the Republic of Turkey. The Byzantine Empire, 330 to 1453. The Byzantine Empire, also known as the Eastern Roman Empire, was a continuation of the Roman Empire in the East. It was officially established in 330 CE when Emperor Constantine the Great moved the capital from Rome to Byzantium, renaming it Constantinople. Unlike its Western counterpart, which fell in 476 CE, the Byzantine Empire endured for over 1,000 years, blending Roman governance, Greek culture, and Christian traditions. At its height, the empire was a dominant power in the Mediterranean, preserving and advancing Roman law, art, and architecture. The Byzantines withstood waves of invasions from Persians, Arabs, and Slavs, relying on strong fortifications like the Theodosian walls and a highly trained army. The empire also played a crucial role in preserving classical knowledge, which later influenced the Renaissance in Western Europe. However, the Byzantine Empire faced continuous challenges. Religious disputes, such as the Great Schism of 1054, weakened its unity. The Fourth Crusade in 1204 dealt a devastating blow when Crusaders sacked Constantinople, crippling the empire. Though it recovered, its power was significantly diminished. The final blow came in 1453 when the rising Ottoman Empire, led by Sultan Mehmed II, launched a full-scale assault on Constantinople. Despite a heroic defense, the city fell, marking the end of the Byzantine Empire. The Ottomans transformed Constantinople into their new capital, Istanbul, and the once great Eastern Roman Empire became a chapter in history. The Persian Empire, Achaemenid Empire, 550 to 330 BC. The Achaemenid Persian Empire, founded by Cyrus the Great in 550 BCE, was the first true superpower of the ancient world. Stretching from the Indus Valley to the Mediterranean, it was the largest empire of its time, uniting a vast and diverse population under a single administration. Unlike many conquerors, Cyrus was known for his policy of tolerance, allowing conquered peoples to keep their religions and customs, a strategy that helped maintain stability. The empire thrived under rulers like Darius the Great, who introduced an efficient bureaucratic system, built the royal road for trade and communication, and standardized currency. The Persians also developed one of the first postal systems and built impressive architectural wonders, including the city of Persepolis. However, the empire's vast size made it difficult to govern, and internal rebellions, combined with external threats, weakened its strength. In 334 BCE, Alexander the Great launched a campaign against Persia, swiftly defeating the Persian army. In 330 BCE, he captured Persepolis and burned it, marking the fall of the Achaemenid Empire. Although Persian culture and influence lived on, the empire itself became a part of Alexander's vast conquests. The Qing Dynasty Chinese Empire, 1644 to 1912. The Qing Dynasty was the last imperial dynasty of China, ruling from 1644 to 1912. It was founded by the Manchus, a nomadic people from northeast China, who overthrew the Ming Dynasty. Despite being a foreign ruling class, the Qing adopted many Chinese customs and Confucian traditions, stabilizing their rule. Under emperors like Kangxi and Qianlong, China reached its largest territorial extent, encompassing Taiwan, Tibet, Mongolia, and parts of Central Asia. The Qing era was marked by economic prosperity, population growth, and advancements in art and literature. However, as the 19th century approached, the empire faced mounting challenges. Corruption, bureaucratic inefficiency, and population pressures led to widespread unrest. The Opium Wars, 1839 to 1842, 1856 to 1860, with Britain and France exposed China's military weakness and resulted in humiliating treaties that ceded Hong Kong and opened Chinese ports to foreign control. The Taiping Rebellion, 1850 to 1864, and Boxer Rebellion, 1899 to 1901, further destabilized the empire. By the early 20th century, nationalist movements were gaining strength. In 1911, the Xinhai Revolution erupted, leading to the abdication of the last emperor, Puyi, in 1912. This marked the end of over 2,000 years of imperial rule in China and the birth of the Republic of China. The Holy Roman Empire, 800 to 1806. The Holy Roman Empire was one of the most complex and enduring political entities in European history. It was founded in 800 CE when Charlemagne, king of the Franks, was crowned emperor by Pope Leo III, reviving the idea of a Roman Empire in Western Europe. Unlike centralized empires, the Holy Roman Empire was a loose federation of kingdoms, duchies, and principalities, bound together by a shared allegiance to the emperor and the Catholic Church. At its height, the empire encompassed modern-day Germany, Austria, the Netherlands, Switzerland, and parts of Italy and France. The emperors, often from the powerful Habsburg dynasty, struggled to maintain control over the diverse and often rebellious states. The empire played a central role in medieval European politics, including the Crusades and conflicts with the papacy. However, the empire's decentralized nature made it vulnerable. The Protestant Reformation in the 16th century divided its territories along religious lines, leading to the devastating 30 Years' War, 1618 to 1648, which weakened the empire significantly. By the 18th century, it had become more symbolic than powerful. In 1806, after Napoleon's conquest reshaped Europe, Emperor Francis II dissolved the Holy Roman Empire, bringing an end to its 1,000-year history. The French Colonial Empire, 1534 to 1980. The French Colonial Empire was one of the largest global empires, spanning Africa, the Americas, Southeast Asia, and the Caribbean. It began in 1534 with the establishment of New France in North America and expanded over the centuries through military conquest, trade, and missionary activity. By the 19th and early 20th centuries, France controlled vast territories in Africa and Asia, making it the second largest colonial empire after the British. At its height, the empire played a key role in global trade, particularly in sugar, spices, and other valuable commodities. The French also established strong cultural and political influence in their colonies, spreading the French language and legal systems. However, colonial rule was often marked by exploitation and resistance from indigenous populations. The decline of the empire began after World War II when nationalist movements gained strength. The First Indochina War, 1946 to 1954, led to the loss of Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. The Algerian War of Independence, 1954 to 1962, was another major blow, resulting in Algeria gaining freedom after a brutal conflict. Throughout the 1960s and 1970s, most of France's African colonies gained independence. By 1980, the empire had largely dissolved, with only a few overseas territories remaining under French control. The Spanish Empire, 1492 to 1898. The Spanish Empire was one of the first global empires and the most dominant power of the 16th and 17th centuries. It began in 1492 when Christopher Columbus, under the sponsorship of Spain's Catholic monarchs, arrived in the Americas. Over the next few decades, Spanish conquistadors, such as Hernán Cortés and Francisco Pizarro, defeated powerful civilizations like the Aztecs and the Incas, establishing Spanish rule across vast territories in North and South America. At its height, Spain controlled large parts of Europe, the Americas, the Philippines, and territories in Africa. The empire's wealth was built on vast amounts of silver and gold extracted from the New World, making Spain the richest and most powerful nation in Europe. However, this wealth also led to economic mismanagement, inflation, and over-reliance on American resources. The empire began to decline in the 17th century due to military defeats, internal struggles, and rising European rivals like Britain and France. By the early 19th century, Spain lost most of its American colonies during the Latin American Wars of Independence. The final blow came in 1898 when Spain was defeated in the Spanish-American War, losing its last major colonies, Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines, to the United States. With that, Spain's era as a global superpower came to an end, though its cultural and linguistic legacy remained strong across Latin America and beyond. The Russian Empire, 1721 to 1917. The Russian Empire was one of the largest empires in history, stretching from Eastern Europe across Siberia to the Pacific Ocean, and at its peak, it controlled parts of Central Asia, Alaska, and even territories in North America. It was officially established in 1721 when Peter the Great transformed the Tsardom of Russia into an empire, introducing Western-style reforms, modernizing the military, and expanding Russian influence. Throughout the 18th and 19th centuries, the empire continued to grow under rulers like Catherine the Great, who expanded into Crimea and Poland. Russia became a major European power, playing a key role in defeating Napoleon and later competing with Britain in the Great Game for control over Central Asia. However, despite its vast size and military strength, the empire was plagued by internal weaknesses. Most of its population were poor peasants living under harsh conditions, while the ruling aristocracy remained resistant to change. The humiliating defeat in the Russo-Japanese War, 1904 to 1905, exposed Russia's weaknesses, and World War I further drained its resources. In 1917, after years of social unrest, economic struggles, and military failures, the Russian Revolution erupted. Tsar Nicholas II was forced to abdicate, and the Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, took control, marking the end of the Russian Empire and the birth of the Soviet Union. The Mali Empire, 1235 to 1600. The Mali Empire was one of the greatest African empires, renowned for its wealth, trade, and cultural influence. It was founded in 1235 by Sundiata Keita, who united various West African tribes and established a powerful kingdom in the Sahel region. The empire controlled key trade routes across the Sahara, making it incredibly wealthy through the exchange of gold, salt, and ivory. Mali reached its peak under Mansa Musa, 1312 to 1337, often regarded as the richest person in history. His legendary pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324 showcased Mali's immense wealth, as he distributed so much gold along the way that he caused inflation in Egypt. Mansa Musa also invested in education, turning the city of Timbuktu into a center of Islamic learning, attracting scholars from across the Muslim world. However, after Mansa Musa's reign, the empire began to decline. Successive rulers struggled to maintain control over Mali's vast territory. Internal conflicts weakened the central government, while external forces, including the Songhai Empire, chipped away at its borders. By the late 16th century, the once great empire had fragmented, and Morocco's invasion in 1591 further sealed its fate. Though the empire faded, its legacy endured in West African culture, trade, and history, influencing the region for centuries to come. No empire lasts forever. From Rome to Britain, Mali to the Mongols, each rose through strength but fell to war, corruption, or overreach. Their legacies remain, but history proves that power is never permanent. Backhand index pointing right. Are today's superpowers rising or falling? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.